Well, welcome back everybody to PoolieMagTV, the raw, unedited, unscripted NUFC fan channel where everybody's got an opinion and nobody's opinion's wrong. So it looks like our first deal of the summer is done. I do apologise, there's no flag. I am not, horizontal. I am vertical today. But I just wanted to bring a quick video before I go hit the hay, work in the morning. But I just wanted to bring a quick video to all the subscribers out there for Anthony Elanga. So it looks like Anthony Elanga is going to be our first summer signing from Nottingham Forest for £55 million. Now, I really rate Anthony Elanga, I really do. I think he's a quality player. He's only 23 years old, he's rapid. Just yesterday, I was watching his compilation from last season. Obviously, I knew he'd had a good season, and I'd seen some of the goals when watching Match of the Day and other things like that. But, you don't really watch other players for other clubs week in, week out, unless it's a Messi or Ronaldo or Lewandowski or something. So I hadn't seen some of the goals that he'd scored, and I certainly hadn't seen some of the assists. And the way he linked up with Chris Wood and Callum Hudson-Odoi last year just gives me great hope. Now, Jacob Murphy had a fantastic season, but we need cover. We're in the Champions League now. We want to retain the Carabao Cup, and we want to do well in the FA Cup and do well in the league. We need players like Anthony Elanga. Now, you look at Eddie Howe's record with younger players and players, that you sort of think, well, are they really worth that amount of money? And you see what he's done with them type of players, the Anthony Gordons, Harvey Barnes at the back end of last season. Isaac and all, he wasn't as great as what he is now. He was really good for Sociedad, but he wasn't great like he is now. Joe Linton, other players like Botman, Lewis Hall, Livramento, all these players that he's just took to a different level, hasn't he? Now, I'm excited for the Anthony Elanga signing. I know 55 million is a lot of money these days, but is it really for a 23-year-old who's clearly got potential? I know he's got 20 assists and I think 11 goals in the last 2 seasons for Nottingham Forest. That's not bad for a 23-year-old, is it? Jacob Murphy's had the season of his life, but he's 30-year-old and he can't play every game. When we've tested Gordon and Barnes out on the right, it just hasn't worked. We need a natural right winger who can, really break defences, and Elanga can really do that. And I'm really excited for Anthony Elanga's signing. I really am. And I wanted to know what everybody else was thinking out there in PoolieMagTV land. I was wanting to see what everybody else, all my subscribers and other people who might watch this, what do you think about Anthony Elanga? Do you think he's a good signing? Do you think he's worth 55 million? I don't think any player really is worth 55 million. These days, most players are worth about what would have been a 20 million pound player is now a 60 million pound player. I think with this overinflated, market, 55 million pound for Anthony Elanga, who's just really been an integral cog in Nottingham Forest getting their first season in Europe in about 30 years. I don't think that's too bad, really. He plays with Isaac, doesn't he? At Sweden, he clearly really good friends with Willa Sula. All these things are going to help him fit in. And I just think he's an Eddie Howe. I really do think he's an Eddie Howe type of player. And I think he'll come on leaps and bounds for Newcastle. I really do. I really do. And I think it's a really good signing. And I hope he kicks off. I don't think he'll get his game straight away. I think Eddie Howe is quite loyal to his players. That got him to where he is now. I can see Jacob Murphy starting. Just like when Bruno come and Botman come, they didn't walk straight into the team. Neither did, Tonali sort of did. But when he come back after his suspension, he didn't, did he? He doesn't really oil players straight in. Now, he had to with Isaac, because Wilson was injured, so he had to with Isaac. But I don't think he would have with Isaac either if Wilson hadn't been injured. He likes his players to bed in. He likes them to do quite a fair bit of training to begin with to get up to speed. Watch how they play. Anthony Elanga has the added bonus that he's not coming from a foreign league and he's coming from the Premier League, so he already knows how the Premier League plays. And he is Premier League ready, and I think he will start in the Champions League, and I think he'll start in the Cups. But I think Jacob Murphy will keep his place in the league until he needs a rest. And that's why we need a bigger squad, and that's why we need somebody like Anthony Elanga to come in, because we need somebody to cover Jacob Murphy. Now, Jacob Murphy had a great season, and I think he's had a great couple of seasons, to be fair. His numbers were fantastic last season. I don't think he'll replicate that this season. I hope he really does. I really hope he does, because I have a lot of time with Jacob Murphy. The way he turned his career around from when we bought him under Rafa Benitez to now is night and day. He looks like he actually is ready to play for Newcastle now, believes he's good enough to play for Newcastle. But we still need cover, just like we need cover for Isaac. Who's next? Who do we need in next? Do we need a goalkeeper? Will it be James Trafford? We're still chasing Mark A by the sounds of it. Do we need another striker? My dad's just messaged me there about Evan Gessand, who plays for Nice. Now, I don't know much about him, but he said he looks like it could be a good backup striker, good backup option for Isaac. Has anybody heard of Evan Gessand? Because I hadn't. But my dad clearly he knows what he's on about, so good on him for bringing him up. Could be a cheaper option, because we ain't going to get a Jokeres or anybody like that. They're not going to sit on the bench for Isaac. But who do you think will come now after Anthony Elanga? And are you excited about Anthony Elanga? Is this the type of player Eddie Howe needs, or is this just a panic buy? Is this just somebody to second, third, or fourth on the list? I don't think he is. I think Anthony Elanga, we went in from last summer, we went in from him in January, and we went in from now. And I think he's a player that Eddie Howe's really touted and really wanted. I don't think Brian Mbeumo has ever really been linked other than this summer. Anthony Elanga, we put 3 bids in for him, and now this time it looks like we're going to get him. And I, for one, am really, really excited about Anthony Elanga coming to Newcastle United, and I think he'll do a really good job. And I think our, Gordon on the left, or Barnes on the left, Murphy on the right, or Elanga on the right, Isaac up front, and obviously we need a replacement for Isaac. It's quite scary, to be fair. We're not done in this transfer window, I don't think. Not by a long chalk. I really don't think that. But Anthony Elanga coming to Newcastle United, I think is a really good deal, especially for 55 million. And people might quaff at that or whatever, scoff at that, but I don't think it's a bad deal. Not when the likes of Noni Madueke are going to Arsenal for 60 odd million. I think Anthony Elanga is better than Noni Madueke. I really, really do. You look at the likes of Jack Grealish going for 100 million. We've seen what's his name, Ruben. The Wolves player who went to Mateus Nunes. That's it. How much did he go for? He went for over 60 million, and he was playing for Wolves. Cunha over 60 million, and Mbeumo over 60 million. Elanga's as good as them. Elanga's had just as good a season as they did. So I think it's a really good buy. He's 23-year-old. He's exciting, and I think he'll do well for the Toon. Anyway, hit subscribe, comment down below, and keep it black and white, keep it PoolieMagTV. The quality of video will be better in the next video, but I just wanted to bring this as breaking news. Keep it black and white, keep it PoolieMagTV. Over and out.